Are you ready, Dylan? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestle Review. My name, John Hastings. Dylan, pronounce your name.
Delan, go.
Oh, is it? Are you? Oh, Dylan rhymes with Milan.
Dylan smoke.
Yeah. Dylan smokes again. Guys, welcome back to the Wrestle Review. This week we're smoking.
Weed.
We're doing Sigs Inside. Hashtag Sigs Inside. You follow that hashtag?
Hashtag throat testers.
Yeah. Whoa. That's right.
That's
our
porn for sure.
Throat testers? Yeah. It's a porn. No, see, here's what I'm thinking is it is not a type of porn. It's actually a all lesbian porn.
And I haven't watched the poontangs.
Exactly correct. And also one person has to be healed by a particular punan, and they have to find that correct punan.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys not know that I now work for Brazzers.com? I'm working out their plots.
I work for Brazzers.ca, which is funny because it is in Montreal. It's just very they go for a lot of government grants.
Montreal is wild in that there's always an industry that is not illegal but is very close to illegal, that is literally paying for all non-French speakers to live there. When I lived there, it was fraud telemarketing, and now it is all the porn you watch. All the porn you watch is
it's in California and Montreal, just like a clean cut, isn't it?
I think it's like I think all the actions in California, and I think all of the like ooh, look at all the money. That's in Montreal. Yeah.
We need something fucking weird and gross. The only thing I can get for this is French guys. We need French guys.
Yeah. I need a bunch of guys with wispy mustaches that are good at computers and want to smoke inside. I mean,
she has to take a shit and she can't, so she decides to fuck. We're calling it shit pluggers.
Okay, so it's your boss, and she's got big boobs. You know what to do.
You're on the couch, you want the job, and then I don't know. This is just normal things for me, but apparently it's sexual to other people.
Yeah, evidently I am the only person that just asks a girl if she can squirt, and if she says yes, I expect to have sex with her in the restaurant. I know you're thinking.
I did some research for inspiration. I think some people call it the filings against Harvey Weinstein, but I just call it a good time.
Yeah, everyone knows you. If you take me to a hotel with a houseplant, I am going to jizz in it.
Okay, here's my idea. What is there's a lady, she doesn't want the guy to jerk off, he starts jerking off, and then there's another lady dressed as a houseplant. That's the porno. She's the houseplant. She wants it, but she has to dress as a houseplant.
I want everyone to know that while we're recording this, because of bed bugs and other sundries, I've now moved in with my girlfriend, and we both work from home. So while Dylan and I are literally discussing porno and jizz. We're discussing it. We're having a discussion.
Discussing porno and jizz. Not just porno or
Dylan, you're a father now, so whenever you're doing anything, it's a deep discussion.
I'm getting to the bottom of this jizz.
Yeah, this big jug of jizz.
Big jug of jizz. That was one of my stand-up jokes that did really well when I first started was they shouldn't have, what was it? There was a guys who review porn. My review of porn would just be me and be like, fucking filled this bucket up, didn't I? And then I put a cigarette out in it.
I mean, were you ever able to get your excellent opening line to work?
What was that?
Hey everyone, I just broke up with my girlfriend. You know what that means? The baker's in town, and he's making nothing but cream pie.
This is the thing is, people all of this is happening, by it.
And there was like a professional business woman, like about 10 feet away, like clicking on keys, making where jizz, cream pie, jizz, chart, flow. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's a weird world. It's a weird world, Dylan.
No, because here's the fun part about that joke is I think I said it a couple times and people would be like, or not get it. And I was like, if you yarged at that, then you're gross. Because if the people that didn't react don't know what it is, and genuinely, that's fine. You don't know what it is. Congratulations. You're a better person than the people that yarged. But if you yarged, you're fucking disgusting. So, like...
Wait a minute, because if they're going... because they're saying they do not
they're going like, it's like, yeah, you watch cream pie porn then.
No, I think those people are disgusted at the notion of the CP. They're not like CP enthusiasts that are like, oh, my secret's out.
You know what it is. You've seen one.
Yeah, but because
it's porno. They don't go like... There's no explanation of what a cream pie is. It's just like a tiny 3-second video of a cream pie.
It's 100% not true. Many a time I've seen terms on the suggested thumbnail videos, and I won't watch the video, but I will go, what the heck does that mean?
Oh, you go Urban Dictionary?
100%. That's exactly what I do. I literally go to the Urban Dictionary.
John's the last guy. How many web visits did we get there? One again.
It's one, yeah, one again. It used to be in England, and now it's in Southern California.
Yeah, he does not hide his IP address. He wants everyone to fucking know.
I want people to know. Oh, listen, Urban Dictionary is a real hoot and a half.
Here's a guy I do not think has honestly ever CP'd anyone, Tony Khan. He has gone his entire 40 years now unpied and unpieing.
Oh yeah, no. Tony Khan is not having. Tony Khan is he's not an incel. He's a cell. Like he's a V cell.
He's like a mega nerd, and I'm very excited to get into parts of like, because there's not enough of people talking trash on Tony Khan because he hasn't been in professional wrestling enough to really like call upon for this. But I am very excited. Well, I could just start the episode with this because we don't do it chronologically anymore because it makes it really weird. But so the Jacksonville Jaguars, which he is the
co-owner and stats man of basically
analytics. He's like the head of the analytics department. The Jacksonville Jaguars have not had a winning season since.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, he's not had a winning season. No, they did. They made it to the conference finals once, and then they were terrible again. They've finished outside of last place 4 times.
Yeah, like
they
this
finished
is
with a winning record once, and they made the conference finals, and then they were just immediately bad one more time.
It's this thing of when you heard like he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, he owns Fulham FC. When like I don't know sports, so I was like, well, those are reputable sports organizations. And then as doing the research, I was like, wait, these aren't successful teams. Like they haven't brought. It's not like, but even that's true of like Jerry Jones and other famous billionaire owners that just sort of bought the team and it's their project. It really feels like Tony Khan's dad was like, I like football, both kinds. I'm going to own one of each so I don't have to worry about tickets.
Well, as we know from being huge fans of the show Billions for a bit during quarantine and then
excuse me, my love of Billions has started and has not waned. Oh, sure, it makes almost no sense outside of the first season, and it's essentially just Entourage but slightly classier.
Yes, it totally is. Just
like it's just
how's he gonna get out of this pickle? But it's old school TV where it's like Monk is like that, where it's like
okay, first of all, excuse me. Get that fucking tone off of fucking Monk right now. Monk is phenomenal. Pardon me? Did you say Monk?
I didn't say Monk is bad. It's just like TV was.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Do you see this guy? Yeah. Essentially, it's like, hey, do you see this? It's either like this guy who in real life would be an asshole or in a mental institution. He can solve mysteries, so let's watch him do that.
Yeah.
Like now every show is just like, the celebrity? They can fucking do some shit. Like 15, 20 years ago, every show was like, do you remember Mary Tyler Moore? Well, she's solving mysteries. And you're like, holy shit, let's do it.
Let's get some fucking light entertainment going, brah. Jesus fucking Christ.
Essentially what happened was Tony Khan's dad is one of those people that just was like, he invented the right bracket that turned out is now the reason we can have tires on cars. And so he just has like endless amounts of money. Tony Khan grew up a uber nerd. Tony Khan, here's the thing, is Tony Khan had so much money so early on is I just don't think he's ever been bullied. That's what I want. This is my big takeaway from this guy, is no one has been like, you want to know why we're not going to do that? It's because you're a little fucking dick licker, Tone. Tone the dick licker. And be like that's the thing is like, if you notice he can't handle criticism, like if you look at it another way, that whole rant about Eric Bischoff, like not that many people heard it. He drew more attention towards it by like going like, fuck that guy with his like he looked like a trout going after corn. Like, oh my goodness.
Think he is like, I don't know. Part of me, like when I was thinking about it for this episode, is like maybe that's kind of big brain shit where he's like, oh, I can't just be quiet and in the background. I need to kind of be in the wrestling media more and more because that's who's watching my shit is nerds. So I need to always be like, hey, nerds, check this shit out.
I actually want to, I do want to sort of talk about, because I think Tony Khan has much more been in the spotlight way more recently. But let's just take a step back. So Jacksonville Jaguars have not been winning since he's been in charge of analytics and stuff like that.
They have one good. I mean, it's far from just the analytics guys.
Okay, that's what I was going. Is it a fault that they're making very bad decisions and bad trades?
Just a bad overall. Like they're just a bad franchise overall.
Okay, so it's just like they don't have a good coach. They don't have a good anything.
They were 10-6 one year. They made it to the conference finals, and if you are 10-6 and make the conference finals, one would think like, okay, well they'll be back next year at least in the playoffs, and they were just bad again and still bad and bad forever.
What is so crazy about owning a football team, though, is even if it's bad, though, like football is such in America, it's like, well, your stadium will sell out, and there will be, as long as you provide some like weird, cool shit, like people will chuck $80,000 at you so they can sit in a box that's got a pool.
Like it's like an asset.
Oh my god, yeah.
Thing. It's like this thing costs you money. It'd be like at the worst, owning a professional sports franchise at this point is like if you owned a boat. But instead of like what actually happens with boats and cars, the boat and car went up every single year in value, like exponentially.
Yeah, well, what it also is it's that thing of like, how do you make $2 billion? We'll get $1 billion. It's like the Khan family have so much money, they can kind of throw that money at any. You know what I'm saying? Like you realize, looking at the figures of comparing like the start of AEW to any other wrestling company, is it's pretty much speculated that
the initial investment by his dad was $100 million.
$100 million
for 3 months.
For 3 months, and within that 3 months, they were able to recoup with a 4-year deal for $175 million. So it's basically is like his dad made $75 million in that initial transaction, and he was only able to do that because he's like, well, I can just pay for you to be able to make a thing for 3 months. Yeah, I don't care.
Well, there's corresponding quotes. There's like Tony Khan saying, I had to convince my dad, and then his dad was like, and then another quote, I forget where it's attributed to. Give me a second after
it's attributed sort of to his dad of saying it's attributed to his dad,
but I don't know who said it, but basically his dad was like, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of money when I die anyway. Why not waste some right now?
Yeah, and as it turns out, he just happened to decide to let his son waste $100 million at literally the most perfect time. And because it's so clear that Tony Khan saw the
gap in the marketplace.
It was a gap in the marketplace, but the other important thing was the pandemic provided them an opportunity to get a lot of look-see fans back that they lost after the initial launch of this federation. So
that's absolutely true, yeah.
So Tony Khan, basically,
fans are way better now. Like fans, I mean, I don't know if you experienced this in comedy in the States, but in Canada, crowds, I don't know, it's like if I'm just pumped to be back doing live stuff or the crowd or both. It's probably both, but it's like performing is way easier now because everyone's just like they don't take things for granted anymore.
I also think that's a little different when it comes to like you and I, and that we've also been doing comedy for a long time and accidentally kind of in the pandemic. I think we sort of crossed from that like, hey, they're headliners now to like, we've been doing this a very long time. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're, and it was in that pandemic. Like that's what happened to us.
Yeah, that was like a transitional thing. Yeah.
AEW was very different in that, much like the Jacksonville Jaguars, the launch of AEW was a huge success. They made it to the conference finals right out of the gate, and then man, did they drop a lot of balls. So basically,
saying this, the Jacksonville Jaguars made it to the conference finals like 4 or 5 years into Tony Khan, and then immediately were bad again. Jacksonville Jaguars are the WCW of football.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yes, they had
also like if you think about owning an NFL franchise, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I can look up how much they're evaluated at right now, but it's probably somewhere around $4 billion, which is probably where all of WWE is valued, and that's like 16 games. They're on TV 16 times a year. WWE is on television every single week.
Yeah, they're on
$2.8 billion. So they are half as valuable.
More than half.
That is the worst team in the NFL. Is more than half as valuable as all of professional
and then
wrestling.
Combine that with a now back in the Premiership football club with Fulham, that like their portfolio between the two of those assets is gargantuan. And then now factoring in AEW, I'm just trying to say, so do we want to make fun of Tony Khan starting with the launch and how bad that was, or do we want to talk about now the awkward media scrums he's making everyone sit through and work backwards?
You can talk. I mean, this is the best thing about Tony Khan is there's like, I mean, really, the if you wanted to do a very short 4-minute, 4-second episode on Tony Khan, it's man is born, dad is engineer, invents specific thing. He now gets to, like, I'm not saying that Tony Khan is dumb. I truly believe.
No, I'm saying he's as smart as us. I get if you or if
you
Dylan,
get the opportunities you're given, and he
I got
didn't
news
earn
for you.
these things.
Yeah.
He's got 3 executive positions in companies that his father owns. 3.
Not only that, his titles are all co-owner plus. This guy loves being the owner, but pretending he owns it with other people. Like, you know what I mean? He loves the interpretation of democracy, the representation of democracy, but not actual democracy. In that it's like, yeah, I own the team with my son. Do you? Oh yeah, the Young Bucks are the executive vice presidents. Let's see how much power they had after that first 6 months. Tone. Okay, so here's basically it. So if we're doing the 4-minute summation of Tony Khan's life, man is born to father who invented important thing makes thing go. That man has lot money. That man becomes executive in 2 companies. That man meets a man who will later get a bad neck tattoo and 3 guys with 80s hair in a parking lot. And then they form a company that's now evaluated at what? $100 million?
AEW?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much they're evaluated at. Why don't you look that up?
I'm looking it up. Why don't you vamp while I look it up?
Ooh. Okay.
I was wrong. 400 million.
Jesus fucking Christ. Seriously?
Yeah, it's almost as much as the rest of the review is worth.
And if you
guys know that we own the patent on cum jokes.
And he has 2 children, and Tony Khan is one of them. And sorry, I was talking about Tony Khan's father here. And the other thing about Tony Khan is, as far as like him being crazy in the media with Eric Bischoff, as you were talking about, that's not just for wrestling. He's had public spats with Jaguars players who are asking for trades. He's publicly questioned, like, he's called out his own players on Fulham, which is, and we are not certainly Premiership fans, but as the beautiful, vivacious Christopher Hobson details.
Yeah.
That is not a thing that happens. Like,
no.
Yeah.
The
coach
so
calls
wild.
You out, the manager, calls out a player time to time, and it's seen his poor form. It's quite unthinkable for like basically the owner's fucking kid to be like, "You playing like a bunch of tits."
I gotta tell you, the show
your tits, I guess, was the implication.
I mean, first of all, how much are we wanting to bet that one of the tweets involves the word tits? Maybe if the keeper didn't have such large man tits. I have to tell you, Tony Khan just comes across like a real boob. Like, he comes across like a very privileged.
I think if he did one thing, he'd be dope. I think when he was just doing AEW because he had to launch it, I think they were great. I think that was great, but it's like no one's gonna keep 3 jobs, like especially jobs of like $3 billion. If you think about it, like the company that he is at the head of that is the least valuable is $400 million.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of AEW, so AEW launches after All In. We all know how All In started. Dave Meltzer said some sort of snotty thing about like no wrestling company in America could sell out a building that's 10,000 seats. Cody Rhodes says, "I'll take that bet." They make All In. All In was this sort of Bullet Club inspired indie fun pay-per-view show that kind of played off of what was going on with Chris Jericho in Japan with Kenny Omega, and basically just was a really sort of fun kind of culmination of how interesting indie wrestling had been for the past decade in North America specifically, and in North America and England. Am I correct in all of this so far, Dylan?
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan sees this as basically a provable point of if there is a gap in the market for an alternative to the WWE, is this correct? Does he approach them before or after All In?
I'm not sure of the timing, but essentially it's like at the exact right time they'll be like, "Hey, you just came up with something that I might want to buy." Like it's just kind of like there is a conversation between him and a TNT executive, Tony Khan, at some point where he's like, they're just talking about WWE, and Tony Khan goes, "Well, you used to have like their biggest rival on your network," and the guy genuinely didn't know about that, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, WCW. You had their like and then he just basically watched some videos with like, and he's like, "Oh my god, WCW had Hulk Hogan," and Tony Khan's like, "Yeah." It's super, and he's like basically like, and it's super easy to make money because he's like a nerd, so he knows like they haven't been, no one has liked what they were doing. Like these guys just love grilled cheese, and they've been like everyone who likes wrestling's basically been eating burnt grilled cheeses for the last 20 plus years.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Is that all we really want? It's like, hey, can we just have a hamburger or a cheeseburger? And they're like, you wanted like a pork with vegan cheese burger, right? And it's like, no, I mean that's like somehow really far away, but very close to what I wanted. So this is awful. This is awful. Why is the Miz here? You know what I mean? That's what it feels like.
There's a guy who used to do stand up, a very nice man, but he had like crazy OCD, and one of the things he had was like he had to have macaroni salad as part of his dinner, like he had to. And then one time friend of ours, Andrew Barr, saw him just really upset at an open mic, and he's like, "What's wrong, man?" And the guy was like, "I couldn't find any macaroni salad. I couldn't make some at home because I was too busy, so I had to go to Popeyes and get some." And that's what every wrestling fan has been like. We have to watch wrestling.
Yeah,
we've only had Popeyes. This has just been left outside. Like this guy legit was like, "I have to. It's part of it's part of me that I for some reason have to have." He literally ate it with the knowledge he was risking horrible food poisoning.
Yeah, and
I hope it's just vegetable. There could be just like chunks of uncooked chicken in this, 100%.
And here's the thing that's exactly what it feels like to be a wrestling fan. And what's fun about AEW is it's like, hey, this pasta salad, it's got some boogers in it, but you can see the boogers, and you're like,
you pick them out.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess that's good. And they're like, it's much better than what it was before.
Well,
it's like,
nice
that is true.
And we do whinge on about AEW, but it's like, it's nice to be like nitpicky again, rather than like, yeah, they just said that guy has the title when he doesn't.
Yeah, like what it's
you know
nice,
what I mean? They were like, Roman Reigns lost the title. Why? Because he's a pussy and he fucking called us. Anyway, he's siding with those whores that said anyway.
Yeah,
he's not the champion and he's a loser and he's lost every match he's ever done. Look at these clips.
Yeah, like in the end, AEW, it's also like, well, AEW is creating alternative, but it's also like WWE is helping, and that like the CEO is currently going through a sex scandal, and he won't stop appearing on the programming. Like I think
just to be like, just so you know, we still sell T-shirts in the arenas. Just lying.
Yeah. I just wanted to come out here in Cleveland and let anyone in here know NDAs don't mean anything.
Yeah, I have an NDA. I'm in the Nice Dick Association. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe she got a $100,000 raise, but she gave me a $200,000 raise for fucking her so good. So fuck you, fuck off.
I just want to let everyone know, if you thought Alex Jones was disrespectful to the deposition process, you've never seen VKM. We're bringing the VKM Mafia back. The VK Mafia back.
Yeah. You bought TNA just to use the VKM.
He's bought Impact just for no. He's like, next week I'm buying Impact Wrestling, and I'm making everyone on that roster my paralegal.
Like, I can't believe he hasn't just re-signed Hornswoggle and named her that paralegal's name, and then he like fucks Hornswoggle every week, and he's like, I'm getting so much money. This is terrible.
I guarantee, by the way, that Vince McMahon has had to be stopped from just like pointing at one of the divas, and it's like, you're a paralegal. Turns to Brock and go, give her the sable in 2008, and you know what I mean? Like, but I guarantee
divas anymore, John.
No, there's a group of old. I'm picturing like old school. Do you remember the Dawn Marie? Like, who else was involved in that?
Just straight up valets. The only straight up valet they have left in WWE is like Maurice, and she doesn't really appear so much because the secret is that her and The Miz have such a successful reality show. The Miz doesn't like really need to wrestle. that reality show wing of the WWE is low key, almost like is another like really huge moneymaker.
Yeah, like I didn't realize that Paige was essentially just a reality star for the last like.
Oh yeah, Total Divas, buddy.
I thought Total Divas didn't exist anymore. I'm sorry. There's too much been happening in the last few years. I can't keep track.
I don't know if Total Divas is still on. That's another thing we could go get a fucking look up. But I do know that like there would be such anger from any wrestling review podcast I would listen to during the like prime of Total Divas, because they would be like, yeah, and then these women wrestled a match that was just a storyline for Total Divas. So they would do these meta things where it's like they would.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Was real. Like they would work a match where they would purposely fuck up just so they could have a storyline. So it's so meta that it's like they're working a match, but also working that they fucked up in the match so they can come back through the curtain and be like, hey, Natty, you stiffed me on that clothesline, but the clothesline was stiffed on purpose for a Total Diva storyline. Like,
I hate
sick and meta that is. That's dope.
It's so that's like
double work.
That's a double work for no reason. That's a no reason double work. This is why
there's two reasons. First of all, you get paid for the first fake thing, then you get paid for the second.
For the second fake thing, yeah. No, I know, but it's just like this is why AEW is successful in the end, is because you're like, well, on that side they're working matches, so there's content for a reality show, and on this side it's just I don't know, Orange Cassidy walks the ring, and that's fun.
When Tony Khan undervalued Cody Rhodes pretty clearly.
We don't know if that's true.
AEW.
It's also I think that Cody Rhodes going back to WWE raised his value in a way that was dropping.
Just like leaving WWE the first
place. This is exactly what it was, and AEW. Like him doing that was so huge because he basically created a Hulk Hogan going to WCW moment by being both not Hogan and the WWE very much not being WCW. And that's the thing that's interesting about AEW is AEW has very much created this mystique of this is just wrestling. It's essentially what they've done is, hey, did you like indie wrestling over the course of the last 10 years, you chubby millennial? Yes. Well, we're doing all of those things you loved over the last 10 years again with the same people. They're older, and then it'll be done safer. And it's like, yes, I want that. I want that very badly. And you're like, well, yeah. And for some reason, Jay White's here too. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but I think his theme song will be stuck in my head for quite some time. Oh, it will.
I would love to see Tony Khan's actual resume, because he definitely seems to have a predilection towards, because he gets like 2012.
First thing, RA when he was in a dorm. Second thing, fired for jacking off in the common room as the RA of that dorm. That's his first thing on his resume. Second thing, thought he applied to work at an Apple store, but actually they just kicked him out because he was just hanging out talking about the Hardy Boys, or talking about Matt Hardy version 1 to various Apple geniuses.
Forums, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you who's for sure popped onto 4chan. Tony Khan. Tony Khan. Like, I guarantee Tony Khan has like a couple of secret Reddit profiles that if we discovered have been posting a lot on, like, I don't know, roast.
Oh yeah,
Hillary Clinton .piss.
He definitely jacked off to dumpster sluts in fucking 2005.
Oh, for sure. This guy is definitely
better when I know that she's been wronged.
Yeah, it's just good to know that she's hurt. Don't you get it?
Dumpster sluts, by the way, I think was just revenge porn.
I thought you made that up. I totally didn't know that.
Dumpster sluts was a actual site.
I don't like when people are like, the internet has gotten so disgusting now. And I'm like, no. You all just put a condominium over top of an open sewer. Stop acting like I wasn't aware of what's been going on. So, like, I remember, like,
well, everyone's just on the same websites now.
That's what it is. Yeah, people used to be able to just ignore lemonparty.com, much to my chagrin, by the way.
Funneled to the same thing. There was a time where you'd be like, I remember there was a time where I'd open up the internet and be like, well, what website am I going to go on? That doesn't happen anymore. It's like you just do the fucking 4 or 5 that we all use. But like,
yeah, and your phone's also told you, like, well, you need to check these weird these versions of websites that are like games, and you're like, whoa, I can't wait to play CNN again.
Ooh.
I think I'm gonna I'm
losing at Tinder for the last 15 years.
Exactly.
Twitter. No, but Tinder too.
Oh, Freudian slip. Yeah, you have very much. Have you lost it,
I'm
Tinder?
openly cheating, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have been wondering, is the podcast been slipping in quality because Dylan is openly cheating on his wife? That is what's happening. Like Dylan,
It's just
to
a big thing in my
research.
face, my sin number, so everyone knows exactly who I am, and I go, I'm openly cheating on my wife.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dylan demanded that he do some research into Tony Khan by going to quote unquote Daytona Beach to scope out some scarant.
But Tony Khan, I would love to see his resume, is what I was saying, because the way he books AEW and a lot of this shit, he seems very much like a guy who really loved pro wrestling up until he had to get a job. Like his dad was like, "Okay, buddy, you're 25, get a fucking job," and it's like, okay.
I don't think that that's what the conversation was. I think the conversation was, Tony, you're 27. You've been working for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 years. Could you actually do something? And he's like,
started at 30.
Okay, yeah, they're okay. So 10 years. He had 10 years sitting in what I'm picturing as a messy basement that smelled very much of like, that stale milk smell men can get in a room. Like, because only at a certain point a man will just be like, well, I just sit here until I'm dead, and let's make it happen. And you're just like whatever is around, like, and the food you're eating is very. Why is there so much ice cream being consumed? You know what I mean? You've had these moments in your life, Dylan. We're both absolute slobs.
I'm always a meat man. Ice
Oh,
cream,
yes,
I always get legitimately nervous about, because I'm like, I could see myself just like starting like licking a cone and then dying. Like I could just eat enough ice cream that I.
Of course.
My whole body.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you. I do like I do remember a couple of Stratum sandwiches we had after some wobbly pops. Oh man. Do you remember that time when you let me I just decided I had a couple of beers and just over mustard my sandwich and just ruined my entire rest of my, I remember that. I've never been so sober in my life all of a sudden.
John Hastings, watching him making a sandwich is truly an experience.
Oh, fuck around. I want all the flavors. I want all the sensations. I want all the tastes.
It's like watching an ape do something absolutely genius. But
yeah,
like for a human, no, but for an ape, the ape is doing a like.
It's also because I put a lot of little bugs and a lot of bananas in all my sandwiches. Where'd you get all these grubs, John?
Well, I remember being like, "Do you want an avocado?" And you were like, "Sure." And he just like grabbed it and just squished it and then just like threw it on the sandwich. I was like, "Okay, that's one way. Yeah, sure."
I don't got time. I don't got fucking time.
I don't have time for this. Oh God. My throat is really being taught a lesson. Good. My throat's learning something.
That's because what was the name of the porn we were talking about at the top of the show? God damn, it would have been a callback.
Throat suckers. No, throat suckers. Let me suck that throat.
Throat checkers?
Something like that. Anyway, man, this show would be sick if we had memories.
Disagree.
But Tony Khan, this is very important. Tony Khan goes to a ECW event with his father, and his father describes it as the closest thing to a war zone he's been in.
And it was because it was Tony Khan's 15th birthday, and he was asked, what is the one thing you want? And he was like, I want to go to an ECW show. It is crazy.
Took his father, who is a person of color, to ECW.
Do you understand how many different slurs that at the time Billionaire was called? Do you understand that?
I think a different thing. I think he had many photos taken with him because they legitimately believed he was the original Sheik. That's the original fucking Sheik.
I guarantee you're.
He's
100%.
out of character. Yep.
Yeah, but what's the real sad part is one of the people who took a photo with him is Sabu. Like Sabu's like, oh my God, my uncle's here. And he's like, I am not your uncle. And he's like, that's exactly what my uncle would say. Because every story Sabu has about his uncle, it is very clear that the original Sheik does not like Sabu. Like, it's just like, oh, I remember my uncle. He used to play this fun game where he would just move and not tell me where he lived.
Must be fucked where it's like, yeah, that guy was a wrestler. And then you're like looking at being a wrestler and you think, man, I want to do that. But then you like realize these guys in the 70s and 60s and all this were like literally trapped because a guy like the original Sheik just couldn't live his fucking life. Like, why didn't you just work at Ford and have a union job if you can never speak in public, dude?
Not only that, remember the original Sheik kept kayfabe in his own house.
That's what I mean. He's built himself a prison and he lives
Bobo Brazil would come over for dinner, and Bobo Brazil would have dinner in the living room, and the Sheik would eat in the dining room, and half the guests would sit with Bobo, and half the guests would sit with the original Sheik. I think it's because
that's so fucking stupid. Like, just don't invite him over for dinner.
It's the money. It's the money. Do you know how much money these people must have been making? Like, you look at Like it was the Gates had there's somewhat of an insight supposedly Cornette got because of some riot he created in Jim Crockett, but they finally had to open the actual like Crockett promotion records, so not like what the wrestlers were getting because that was just like bullshit, but what the actual like what Jim Crockett was pocketing, and it was like, well, they made $95,000 off of tickets alone, and then a bunch of old ladies just gave them all 30 grand. Like they made so much money. Ed Ferret was like, yeah, I'll pretend to be the Sheik. I'm making $1 million 5 miles from my house, and all I have to do is beat Andre the Giant with a sword. Like, yeah, I can do that. I'll pretend to be. I won't eat with Bobo Brazil in my own house, and then I'll just have $8 million. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, man, but I guess I'm a different person because I'd be like,
I disagree. The
absolute definition of like,
let me tell you how I could get Dylan to agree to this in 10 seconds. If I called your wife and was like, I just want to let you know, Dylan is turning down $8 million a year because he wants to have to be able to eat in the same room as me. And she would be like, you're never coming over to my house again. He agrees. That's how that plays out.
That would be very easy to do because we live very far away from each other.
No, I'm moving into your house. I should have been more honest. I've been recklessly spending my fortunes here in California. I have no job, and all I've been doing is buying Fabergé eggs. Remember Bleeding Gums Murphy from Simpsons? Turns out you can actually do that in LA.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. They got all types of Simpsons related fun activities here, and one of them is get addicted to Fabergé eggs.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
you
man.
Just like fucking choke your kid?
You can, but only you have to be in your own house, and the kid had to have been involved in something zany.
Do you know how fucking crazy it is that show is like whatever to us, and part of it, the runner was the son the father chokes his son, and everyone's like, yeah, that's light.
Man, it's something that I like point out where it's like we have really progressed very forward as a society in that like I remember when we were stand-up comedians, the amount of comedians that had jokes about like, I don't care what someone says, I think you should be able to beat the fuck out of a kid. Yeah. And then everyone would be like, that's right. That's goddamn right. Like
these motherfuckers don't fucking ever want to leave the grocery store. You should be able to blast them in the head with a piece of wood.
Yeah. I remember this. I was thinking about a comedian, then I remembered how he dealt with a heckler one time. Mm-hmm. Was he just went, you're a cunt. You're just a fat cunt.
Yeah. And everyone liked it.
Oh my God. I think he was in Kitchener, Ontario.
Yeah,
that person would have been mayor if they wanted to be.
You're a fucking
cunt. Bear in mind, not a dark, dirty comedian. Mostly impressions. Like we're talking like a real gear shift. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, with the like, I think that comedy clubs used to have security and like people would respect it. So comedians are now much more, they mind their P's and Q's on stage because they know that like the line has been crossed, and this is pre-Will Smith. Just like you can for sure walk up on stage and just hit this fucking nerd. Do you know what I mean?
But that's been true for 10 years. The amount of different people that have been have gotten on stage that I've had to deal with.
Oh yeah.
I had to chuck a beer over a guy's head in Aberdeen. A story so crazy. I thought I made it up. I thought I made this up. There was a stag do. I don't know if this guy like jumped on stage. I somehow got him to sit on the stool, and he was like, "What are you gonna do? Make me laugh?" I can't do a Geordie accent. And I said, "Do you want to see my impression?"
In Scotland, you don't need the Geordie. Oh, he was Geordie?
He was Geordie. They were up from Newcastle.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that you would go from Newcastle to Aberdeen where it's like, do you want to go south where we can't fight anybody? No, I want to go north where we can fight more people.
Exactly. Let's go somewhere somehow much better, but also more violent than where we're from. Anyway, I got him on stage, got him sat down, and I said, "Do you want to see an impression of an angry Geordie?" And for some reason, my original plan was to spit beer in his face, and I just dumped a full beer over his head. And I just remember thinking, this maybe is how I'm going to die. But it shamed him enough that he got off stage. And I thought I dreamt that until Liam Withnail confirmed that I did that when I saw him in November of 2021. Needless to say, what I'm saying is I think that you are correct in that 30 years ago, comedy clubs did have security, and we came up in a time where the security was like usually just like a small emo girl. Like, my name's Kat, I'm pretty cool. And you're like, okay, I better be able to figure out what I need to do on stage.
Yeah,
without
pretty much just if someone's talking, do we kick them out? Well, we ask them to leave and just really hope they comply. And if they don't, then we look at each other and go, well, I don't get paid enough to do this.
That's exactly it. It's in the same way that I think that to relate this back to Tony Khan is that I think I'm going to do it in that Dylan and I both came up in a time where stand-up comedy was in a real transitional phase, transitioning from, especially in Canada, these like real clubby guys to just people that were quote unquote alternative, but just being in comedy clubs. There was a huge marketed divide, and they're much closer in style than you realize. And you can see that now, and that basically just 80s observational style has been rolled into the more confessional alternative style, in the same way that AEW seems revolutionary by simply just not overproducing every segment and putting a premium on in-ring an in-ring realistic presentation. It is like a breath of fresh air, and they are literally doing what Ring of Honor did, essentially what ECW did, like what every promotion has ever done before. It's just like, just focus on two things the WWE is not. Everyone thinks you're a genius for 5 years, and then eventually you'll implode. And that's exactly where we are right now with AEW, in that they keep getting victories, even though the entire IWC, we recognize you, is like, this is going to be shit. Okay, they pulled this one off. This is going to be shit. Oh, they pulled this. And
I don't think it's. Oh, you mean AEW? The IWC loves AEW. That's what everyone's. But there's also the part of the.
No, I would say there's a huge contingent, but there's also this. There's a period of time before a lot of their big events where it does not look like they're going to be able to pull off what they've pulled off basically since March of 2021, which is a lot of pay-per-views and a lot of storylines that everyone goes, this isn't going to be engaging or interesting, and turns out it really, 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 really is. And what I'm waiting for and what is interesting is I don't think that Tony Khan's going to be able to correct once they make a mistake. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay, I think, yeah, okay. Well, why do you think that? Just because he's like, it seems like a...
He doesn't seem to be able to take criticism. He doesn't seem to be able to acknowledge when something isn't going correctly. And thus far, he has been the thing that has corrected the mistakes, as best as I can guess. This is speculation, but if we had to go based on the beginning of that company, so we have Double or Nothing, where everyone was very excited. And let's be honest, that first Double or Nothing was, Dylan, it was fine. It was fine.
It was good, but they didn't have enough access to talent at that point.
They didn't have enough access to talent. And
the main thing that AEW, that's made AEW so great now, is that Nick Khan came in to WWE and was like, we're trimming this whole fucking operation.
Oh my God. Absolutely. That and COVID freeing up everyone working for Ring of Honor and the NWA. So they basically just got the best of both of those rosters for no money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But this is again what I'm saying is okay, so that
but it's like one of those things where if you want something to succeed, sometimes the best idea is to just start doing it, because don't wait till the proper time. This is anything in life, really. Just don't wait till the proper time. Just start doing it, because AEW, obviously the dude had fucking $100 million immediately from Papa, but like he started doing it. They had some really good high-level talent, but like look at where like some other upper talent is now. Like their friggin' first pay-per-view, like one of the headline matches was Pac and Omega, and now Omega's like, or sorry, now Pac's the All-Atlantic champion, but also like, you know what I mean? Like he's like a mid-carder, and he's awesome. I think he's awesome, but you know what I mean?
I thought Pac and Omega was later. Anyway, I know what you're saying, and it's exactly that but all those mistakes before were, I think, other people. So I don't think Tony Khan was as involved in the booking early on. I think it was way more the Young Bucks. That's why AEW initially was way more indie. By the time we get to COVID, you can really see there is a...
Well, the Dark Order angle happens. Everyone's like, what the fuck was that? Tony Khan takes over. So here's what keeps on happening is Tony Khan keeps on adding more shit, because also the Max Caster rap where he like mentioned the Simone Biles thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tony Khan was like, okay, well, now I'm going to edit Dark and Evolution as well. I don't know if he still does that, but they took Max Caster off television for a couple months. and he was like, okay, well, I'll fucking edit this.
Yeah, they've had a few incidents. There's now all these reports of like he keeps doing a bunch of blow with talent. Have you read these internet rumors?
No, they're unsubstantiated, correct?
Oh, Dylan.
Classically good stuff. Just some egg on Twitter said it.
I think it's
like,
not even on. I think it's only on Reddit, which that is.
Oh, that's good. Not even Twitter worthy.
Not even on Twitter. I thought you'd enjoy this. This is why I wanted to bring this immediately to the table. I
can see him just being like, "Oh fuck, now we got to hang out with Tony Khan."
That's exactly what I think it is. I think it's I guarantee it's like, and also I guarantee Tony Khan doesn't do blow. I guarantee Tony Khan does like 18 Adderalls a day. Like he just doesn't strike me as an illegal drug guy. He strikes me as a like 15 Red Bulls and he's just jacked on caffeine.
Once again, I think that Tony Khan, I don't know, man, he just keeps on getting jobs from his dad. And his dad seems pretty easy breezy, to be real. I watched like a 6
I've never
him on Sports Illustrated where his dad's like, "Oh fuck, we lost." It's like a Fulham FC, and he's like, "Oh fuck, we lost." Anyway, do you guys want to see a boat that flies?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because his dad's just an engineer. He's like, "Oh, I own this thing, so my friends are jealous of me. My son likes playing with it."
What's weird is, his dad isn't those like his dad isn't like a Logan Roy billionaire that he's like he's just like, "I'll turn my kids into playthings. I'll control everything." His dad's more like, "The plane is my real child, Tony. What can I buy you so you will not tell people that I do not love you?" And he'd be like, "A wrestling company?" He's like, "Very good. I'll tell you who's really all elite. Airplanes."
Well, it's just like Vince never did this for his kids, but it'd be like if Vince
hugged them, said hello, learned their names.
UFC for Shane and was like, "Run this thing," and then Shane did it, and he was like, "Fuck, he's pretty fucking good at that, isn't he?" But Vince would just be like,
"I run the UFC, and the UFC is now me winning all the fights."
Yeah, exactly. In the end, do you understand? That's so funny that if Vince had listened to Shane McMahon, he would control the universe. Like Shane literally just like, "Well, hey Dad, can you maybe buy this thing ECW? It's what we just need to do is adapt our product ever so slightly towards it, and then we'll probably be able to take the company public." "No, Shane, you're fucking fuck you. You're my cum. You should put me in the toilet. You're not supposed to talk."
If you want to speak positively of Vince McMahon, which at this time period is not a good idea, but like he also like basically came up with Netflix for wrestling in 2006. Like he's been horny to fuck over pay-per-view providers since.
Oh my god!
Since he had to give them money, and then the internet happened. He's like, "You can put video on this thing," and then he was like, immediately, "I want my fucking fans to not." Sorry, but like,
what I like, you're so right, and I could. But what's also this is the difference if you're comparing Vince McMahon to Tony Khan. Is Tony Khan isn't like actively making enemies with it. It's basically what it is. I just realized is Tony Khan is if Shane McMahon got hold of the WWE, in that it's like he's a billionaire's son. So he is actually very shrewd as a business person. He understands it from a very high level executive place, but it's also that thing of like he kind of has this weird confidence because it's like, well, if it doesn't work, like you just ask your dad for like another $80 million. Like that's what you do. And it's like
he truly is like the way he's invested in this thing is, and I don't think that you need to be more than invested in something as pure spite. But, like, he's invested in it as far as, like, he, like every other internet fan, thinks he's fucking better at booking wrestling than Vince McMahon. So he's, like, basically out to... But, I mean, he's, like, a generic internet fan in one thing, which it's... I mean, let's just remove ourselves, and I've said this on the program before. Think about how cool it is that one of the type of geeks that we are, got to make their own wrestling thing.
I agree with you, although I do not think we are the same type of geek as him. Do you know what I mean? I think that we
didn't grow up billionaires.
Also, he knows way too much about Japanese wrestling. I'm going to say it right. Like we cannot compare in terms of his knowledge base, as we have both said many times. I need an English commentator. I feel very bad about it, but I get lost. I get lost. I need someone to tell me the story. Hold my hand.
I like promos a lot.
Yeah,
anyway,
as do I.
Basically, Tony Khan, we also have to talk about this stuff, which is the real tentpoles of him being the leader of All Elite Wrestling, has been firing a Big Swole, where Big Swole said basically like,
Yes, I wanted
didn't
to
feel comfortable as a black performer, and he said, "You got fired because you shit. Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah, this is the thing this is exactly what I'm going towards. Is Tony Khan can not accept criticism.
Yeah, he doesn't even hide it as well as Vince does. Like, Vince will publicly be like, well, you know, they believe that and I believe something else. But then on his TV show, he creates a character called, like, you know, Small Dick Dave Meltzer, who comes out and he has no dick, so he loses every match. And then he gets and then a new wrestler has to play him every week because he gets his fucking face shot into smithereens. But, like, Tony Khan will just be like, Tony Khan, I'm not racist because I can't be because
I'll tell you why I'm not racist. I'll tell you why I'm not racist. Is whenever I listen to a rap song, I say the N-words. When I sing them, I sing the N-words. That's what I do. I'm Tony Khan. I sing the N-words. Like that's how Tony Khan would try and be like, I'm very woke. I'm very woke. I'm awake right now. You know what I mean? That's who Tony Khan is, actually. Like, he's just like, fuck you.
I actually can't be wrong because of these 4 things. And also, like, she's a whore, and I'll find her. I'll fucking...
Yeah.
She'll never work again.
Big swole, more like big swollen loser. Take that. Tweet that. Tweet that. Tweet that.
Is crazy for the leader of a company. Like, Vince McMahon is really never, ever
that's
said,
so
like,
great.
that guy was bad at wrestling. Even, like, fucking Jeff Jarrett. He's like, he's not a top-level talent. That's the worst thing Vince McMahon or anyone else has said about Jeff Jarrett, who, like, basically was like, give me money or I'm not getting in the ring. And Big Swole, who was just like, yeah, I mean, you could treat employees better. He was like, you're a bad wrestler.
That's such a good... Yeah, he's like, this is exactly what I'm saying is AEW's downfall begins when, like, they just have a really bad pay-per-view again. And Tony, like, when they have an awkward media scrum, Tony Khan's going to be... I'll tell you why tonight's show sucked is because you guys didn't believe enough in me. You know, like, it's... But
that's totally what happened. Like, this is what we were talking about in the first half of the episode. Like, it's not beyond this guy. Like, he publicly called out members of Fulham Football Club. And at that point, I want to say he was in his, like, early 30s, maybe even younger.
But here's the difference: is you can call out members of Fulham or Jacksonville Jaguars because that's like a street. Like, those sports are like rivers; they're constantly flowing. There's new news, all that sort of stuff. Wrestling is like a lake. Everything is nothing fucking goes away. It's just not in everyone's vision. But, like, because they have done an amazing job of making everyone forget that the wet fart that was that death match. Like, in March of 2021. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, but the other thing is, like, as far as that death match goes, like, that's one in how many years?
I'm agreeing with you, but there were a lot less eyes on the company and everyone was a lot more understanding in that moment because it was the pandemic. I don't think people will be this cool moving forward, in that people were really sharpening their knives in the run up to fucking Forbidden Door. People were really looking for this to be, we told you, Tony Khan can eat our piss. All of our weird internet wrestling community, like, we love AEW.
Starting to show where it's like, okay,
this is the thing.
People are getting, like I said, like, nitpicky.
People are getting nitpicky. It's also the roster is getting injured. Also, the roster is very much like, hey, do you remember WWE in 2014? Well, those guys are older now.
I mean, not totally, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain criticisms on
the TNA stuff happening where it's like just any WWE. The WWE guys they're picking are good. It's not like, I don't know if you could pick people as bad as TNA did, to be fair. Like, they're not picking, like, old guys who then just beat the fucking shit out of everybody. Like, if other than Sting, I guess.
Well, they're not picking WCW guys. That's what it is. Well, they're not picking the NWO guys. What it is TNA kept being like, well, this guy's known for manipulating everyone, so he just can take control. Well, that won't happen here because my name's Dixie and I'm such a smart gal. You know, and like AEW, in the end, what it is AEW is run by a fan, and that and wrestling fans at this point have so much knowledge about wrestlers. Like, I guarantee that Tony Khan, if Tony Khan sat down with us, we would solve the murder of Dino Bravo in about 15 minutes.
And Tony Khan, of course, as of this time, he won Promoter of the Year the last
I
2
hate this.
years.
Fuck
and
you,
he won
Dave.
Best
The one thing
Booker
is
in
Dave
2020 and
Meltzer
21.
can actually fuck off with his love of Tony Khan. It's just like he's like, well, I like Tony Khan. It's Tony Khan also seems dead behind the eyes, like old Dave. And old Dave gets to go ask questions. Dave's out with his kids. Dave Meltzer never wants to meet his kids. He's only met them once and he threw up. Dave Meltzer.
Well, this is the thing about Tony Khan, though. It's like, not the Tony Khan thing, sorry, but like AEW as a whole. Like when I was watching the Wednesday Night Wars against NXT, I was thinking this all the time. Where I'm like, if I was just honest with myself, the NXT is much better than AEW just based on like roster talent alone. But everyone just wants AEW to succeed.
So it's also benefiting from that thing of AEW is just like, it's fresh. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it just seems like it's the new thing. Like relating back to where when we sort of got sidetracked talking about stand-up, but this is also true of like, you can see comedians that have been comedians for 20 years that will react to someone that's like, for fuck's, this is fucking Mitch Hedberg is the big one you always hear. Cause anyone who is a one-liner, I'm like, this is just fucking Mitch Hedberg. But it's like, yeah, this person doesn't know who Mitch Hedberg is. He's just writing short jokes. He'll discover them. Like, it's that same thing in AEWs. It's like WCW again. I liked WCW. Like, you know what I mean? We're also reacting to the nostalgia and also the real world retelling of it all. It's a very interesting, complex mental web to be a pro wrestling
also,
fan.
Like, they don't directly. I'm sure somewhere down the line, I mean, the guy made his money being an auto manufacturer, so like he is hurting the earth, but like WWE directly was like, oh, they murdered a journalist? Well, that's interesting because that journalist is a jobber apparently. Who
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize.
Shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were mourning people that don't know how to win a fight. So I will see you in fucking Saudi Arabia. Let me say this about Tony Khan. I cannot wait for the wheels to come off of AEW. I just feel like it's not going to happen soon.
Wait, I want it to just be good forever. Here's how you.
I will be
AEW.
good
All
for
your problems. Powerhouse Hobbs, put them on fucking TV. Powerhouse Hobbs. That's it.
Why do you like Powerhouse Hobbs so much?
Because I feel like that there is much more. They don't want to. So this is another thing that happened is since they're so attached to TV ratings and wrestling is very much viewed from a television perspective as sports is, where it's like must-watch viewing, is that they don't want to build anything. It takes time to build stuff. So like on the first couple of AEW shows, they did those dope introduction to all these characters, and all of those like segments when they did the introductions apparently did fucking terribly, so they just stopped doing them. They don't have time for that anymore. And a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs is a dude who's been wrestling for a while but doesn't have any camp that he's in, really. Like, he wasn't a former NXT guy. You can't connect him. Like, all the guys who are successful in AEW, you can connect them to a specific indie that you know the name of. Like, Orange Cassidy was like GCW. Who Sammy Guevara
MJF
was
is
PWG. MJF is MLW.
Not
the name. Not that
that's
MJF
a really fucking point. No, but I know exactly what you mean. Is that an AEW, even with the structure now where they have all these factions, is exactly that. It's like this rotating faction of like this group begets this guy. Of even like Pac was very much Dragon Force. Fucking the Lucha Brothers. Oh my god, that's a great point of. AEW is still benefiting from that indie boom of the 2010s.
Where it's like all the nerds who watch 205 Live watch that dude be the king of that show. And 205 Live in the universe of WWE, they literally didn't even interact with NXT. So like you can do that whole thing where I've said this before, but NXT there would always be that check where it's like, okay, an NXT guy went in the Royal Rumble, he's the big champion, he's untouchable on NXT, and then like he loses by getting dumped out by the Miz. So then it's like that it breaks that immersion in the NXT world versus like 205 Live. You were always immersed in the world because they never crossed over with anything else. If you're looking in like a weird comic book,
because everyone was really worried Vince McMahon would find out those people would be on television, and he'd be like, God, yeah. And then Vince McMahon watched half an episode of what he thought was a prank, but what was 205 Live, and he threw up inside his own cockhole.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like there's this like reticence to like he's built his like guys a specific way, and also like a really weird like he is kind of flexible in storyline ways. But like when Britt Baker caught fire, and it was clearly like, okay, make Britt Baker like Ric Flair the babyface, where it's like she cheats but everyone's still on her side, and then you can have heels just do the stupid thing. You can have heels do the most obvious thing, which is like, why would you boo when I cheat, but when she cheats it's fine? You guys are fucking hypocrites. And then it's like, you know, obviously, the best bad guys are the ones with points, like Hitler did, right? So, I had to make a joke at some point. Anyway,
no, I agree. This has been one of the more nerdy episodes we've ever done. You've also, but again, you've hit the nail on the head of what I think is Tony Khan's accidental genius and why AEW is working right now. Is all they are doing is old tricks just again. Do you know what I mean? Like she's Ric Flair the babyface, and then they're the heels are Jesse Venturiing, and we're sitting there being.
He didn't change her to be a babyface. She's still just a fucking heel.
I agree. He's listening to the audience. This is the thing is
I'm saying he's not listening. Sorry.
You're saying he's not listening to the audience, or he is listening to the audience?
Yeah, because Britt Baker should have been a babyface, and he's just like, no, she's still a heel. It reminds me of exactly. I guess you just keep the same analogy. It reminds me of Ric Flair in the 80s, where it's like, yeah, everyone wants this dude to be a babyface, but no, he's still with the Horsemen and he's still the champion. And it's like, no, but like, I want to cheer for this fucking asshole. Just let me do that.
Yeah, no. But again, this is welcome to wrestling. You know what I mean? Like if
yeah, you're not gonna bat 1,000, but it's like when shit is that fucking easy. It's like Dana White in the UFC. Like Dana White has a lot of fucking flack, but like the way Dana White tries to build the UFC, it's like that guy would if that guy found out he could fix every fucking fight and no one would know shit, he would be coming out of his fucking tiny little and I'm not saying that it's the bad thing. I'm just saying the way he acts, he's overcompensating for a lot of things. He's probably nutting out his fucking 1-incher and dripping it on his little balls. His balls are also small. Baby balls white. But like he would be so fucking pumped because there's so many guys he's put so much shit behind and avoided every single. If you're a UFC fan, you know there's these dudes who just clearly can't do shit, and he just literally makes them not fight guys who could even. And then at one point it's like, oh fuck, this guy's a stand-up striker, and the only guy left for him to fight is I know better than him. I have to make this guy fucking fight a guy better than him, and he just like when Conor McGregor, when Jose Aldo for sure fell out of that fight, and he got to be like, oh yeah, he'll face a wrestler. Conor McGregor will face a wrestler, and it was a wrestler on like 2 days' notice. He was like, thank fucking God.
Yeah, it's Dana White. Because also, here's the thing: is Dana White is the luckiest of all the, for lack of a better term, hitty, fun, flabby arm boy promotions of sports-like activities. In that Vince McMahon and Tony Khan just don't get the lucky breaks Dana White does of like, oh, please, that worked out. Oh, please. Like Ronda Rousey.
Like this is the thing about Dana White. There's a lot of breaks that haven't gone his way.
I
could rattle those off for.
Oh my God! Well, when like Holly Holmes beating Ronda Rousey was the one where it was, God damn it.
Tito Ortiz being like in the end pretty shitty. Phil Baroni, who like does pro wrestling now because he's so fucking entertaining that he just does like. He does like that whatever he does like Japanese style pro wrestling, I guess you call it, like stiff, where he can just fake box somebody, but he's still so fucking entertaining. Like all these guys have passed through his thing, and Dana White for sure has to pretend that he hates pro wrestling, but I guarantee if you gave Dana White 1 month with like AEW, he'd be like, these 4 guys are your stars, start building them, and he'd be totally right, and all 4 would be Powerhouse Hobbs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the highlight, Dylan, I think we all can agree the high point of Tony Khan, that's Powerhouse Hobbs. What's the low point? Not enough
push Powerhouse Hobbs, goddammit. There's an underground movement starting to push my friend Hobbs.
Is that, are you now calling him your friend Hobbs now?
He's my friend now.
Yeah. Have you heard Powerhouse Hobbs' new theme music?
It just says Powerhouse.
No. It's like this. Oh, it's Dylan's friend, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Mm-hmm.
It's very short. And if you're not careful, you miss it.
The only guy who's hornier for Powerhouse Hobbs than me is Jim Cornette. And I will say this, Jim Cornette obviously says some awful things. But
Oh, boy.
he is pretty much always right when he's like, this guy's great. Like, Jim Cornette's favorite wrestlers are FTR and MJF and the Briscoe brothers. Like, those are 5
I
great
completely
wrestlers.
agree with him. Like, no, Jim Cornette is a horrible, horrible man, but he does very much understand wrestling. Most of his criticisms of AEW, I don't necessarily agree with, but I see his point completely. And I will not stop saying this. Him calling Kenny Omega Kenny Olivier, that just doesn't stop being funny. That's just that's objectively so mean and fun.
It would be fun. It would be fun to see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, Tony Khan by no means is doing a bad job with AEW. It's just like our collective nerddom, our old man dreams are almost coming true, and it's like there's these weird little tweaks that everyone wants AEW to have that he could put into place. But overall, I mean, as far as like a nerd perspective, I definitely feel like we've talked for over an hour about Tony Khan. I definitely feel like this is a part 1 that we don't know about, because he's gonna, with 3 jobs.
Dylan, are you initiating the year of Tony Khan? We're doing it. Let's do it. All right. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen, for Tony Khan part 2. Get ready for this podcast to get really quiet. So
I just mean like, there's definitely going to be a Tony Khan part 2, because he's definitely going to have more big swole situations.
Oh, yeah. I got news for you. And I am really looking for, like, if Tony Khan is doing blow with wrestlers, if he accidentally tweets like early in, let me tell you why I'm sad, because John Moxley isn't a good friend. Or like, if he just tweets, I like John Moxley better when he drank, I guarantee that's something Tony Khan's going to do.
Here's something, and then we'll do, I guess, best and worst or whatever. I don't even think there's best and worst, because nothing is really.
Best thing Tony Khan did was create AEW. Worst thing was that season after the Jacksonville Jaguars were the conference boys. I don't fucking care.
Oh no, the best thing he's ever done is sign Powerhouse Hobbs. Worst thing is champion. Tony Khan.
I don't understand
I don't know if
you like Powerhouse Hobbs so much when Orange Cassidy is in AEW, and everyone know your favorite wrestler should be Orange Cassidy.
Cassidy's dope, but
it's the modern Sandman. Go ahead.
If you want to completely change the wrestling news cycle, and this is free advice for the WWE, and I don't know why I'm fucking giving it to you, sign Joey Janela and just pay him as much money as you need to shit talk Tony Khan, because Tony Khan,
oh my god,
while he's carrying groceries or something, do a selfie video where he's like, "You little fucking shit, you got nothing but tits. You have fucking 2 nipples, and your abs are also tits. You little shit. I fucking made you." And he'll go fucking insane, dude.
He will accidentally tweet
ungrateful little piece of shit. Like he'll
oh my god! Within 3 tweets, it will be a photo of Tony Khan's dick, being like, "This is the inches I've got, Joey."
On Instagram. He'll go live on
certainly
Instagram.
will. I got news for you. He'll try and hijack the airways of TNT. I want this attention.
He'll, like, get his ex-girlfriend Penelope Ford to say some fucking buck wild shit.
Oh
on
my
the Instagram
god!
Stream while she's like, "Tony made me say this." Don't fucking say that part, you bitch.
Yeah.
You read what I didn't write.
Yeah.
You wrote. Read what you wrote.
We don't got time to edit this, which we wouldn't anyway, because it's genuine. Now fucking say it right, bitch. Which
is so funny, because like Eric Bischoff said one thing about CM Punk in that press conference, and the rest of the time he's like, "Oh, Tony Khan's doing a great job," and he's like, "See," and then Eric Bischoff decided to start trying to be like this very see-through in my eyes, the Skip Bayless of professional wrestling, and just kind of give like hot takes, because this is what the other thing about, like, we're going over now, but whatever. This is the other thing I thought about the Bischoff podcast, where it's like Bruce Pritchard has all this time to call on, as does Jim Ross. Even like
you're 100%, and you've made this point before in a chat episode.
Like
it's so accurate,
years, kind of.
And it's also, most of that was as a performer when no one was his friend. Like,
yeah.
You said that to me, and I can't listen to that podcast anymore, because as soon as you say that, you're like, that's all it is, because everything relates back to him running WCW. He never talks about really his time in the Fed, or the time when he was running the Fed.
He's smart, and he doesn't want to burn that bridge. He knows he could come back.
Yeah, he's an actual business.
Yeah, he's an actual businessman. Exactly.
Yeah, Dylan, I like when you got hopped up on this. You want to know why you got hopped up?
I got hopped up.
Yeah, that's right. That was exactly where I was going.
The big boss man himself, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh my God, Dylan, what would happen if Ray Traylor turned out Ray Traylor had faked his death, as we've long suspected here on the program.
Mm-hmm.
And reunites with his future adopted son. That's right. Ray Traylor's going to adopt Powerhouse Hobbs, and they form a father-son.
Man that's over 30. I like that.
Of course, because Big Boss Man would be his dad.
Powerhouse Trailer.
Powerhouse Trailer.
Powerhouse Trailer.
Oh my God.
The only suitable tag team for Powerhouse Hobbs really would be if well, I love Ricky Starks, but like if it was Hobbs and Shaw, but it was Jason Statham reprising his character in the movie Hobbs and Shaw. But obviously you make the replacement of disgusting, stupid, untalented The Rock for Powerhouse
Correct.
Hobbs.
For the
Powerhouse Hobbs is they never mention it in the movie, and he is dressed as he does in his like Harlem Heat singlet, and he also torture acts every single bad guy.
yeah. Oh my God, this is just in. Powerhouse Hobbs just EGOT'd. Dylan, did you know that?
He won a Tony for his song Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, he won an Oscar for the music video for
it was $300 to get in. Black tie affair. He said he just goes Powerhouse. It takes 35 minutes, and everyone then gives every single piece of money they've ever had in their life to him.
To Powerhouse Hobbs. Did we just become a Powerhouse Hobbs podcast? Is this show now called the
Powerhouse Podcast? Thank you very much. On Powerhouse Dylan Gott. That's Powerhouse John Hastings.
Thank you very much.
Join us on Patreon. We'll be talking about what Powerhouse Hobbs may or may not have eaten, and I'll be trying to interview his ex-girlfriends to see how it is to have sex with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us on Patreon. We are at 95 patrons. We would like to get to 100 patrons. And if I know anything about our fan base, we're about to lose 3 patrons.
Yeah, of course.
And
no, I mean, whatever.
If
Some
we
people have joined, good
guys, if we get to 100 patrons, Dylan Gott will continue to write Powerhouse Hobbs fanfic. I've read it. It is very specific to Dylan's actual life.
It's very sultry.
Powerhouse Hobbs comes over and helps Dylan Gott raise his child.
Yeah, speechless.
Yeah, there's there's very little dialogue, and there's just a lot of descriptions of what it's like to hang out with a toddler. You walk to the park. You think you'd have deeper insights into the miracle that is life. Mostly you're tired.
They explain that their kid can't do some things that your kid can. You just don't mention how fucking sick your kid is, I guess. You got to hold back how fucking dope your kid is, which has happened a lot of times. Like, oh yeah. How was your kid? I'm like 16 months. They're like, oh, and he knows that much? I'm like, I don't know. Your kid's fucking stupid. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
I got to go to another park with smarter kids. I'm trying to find parks around this fucking shitty city with smarter kids, but I can't.
To be clear, Dylan,
3-year-olds who don't know words, bro.
Dylan is taking his 16-month-old to a premature maternity ward. It's a premature maternity ward, and telling him it's a park. This is a park, right?
The fucking U of T advanced science, whatever they say is there.
Yeah, Dylan's wife has told him that the maternity ward is the advanced science center. It's just so Dylan has confidence. Like the child isn't even there. It's just Dylan needs confidence as a parent.
They're super short and they can't even move.
Yeah, your kid's in a plastic box. My kid's outside, but you're fucking losers.
You don't put them in a box, John. Jesus fucking Christ.
Premature kids are in a box. They're in an incubator.
They're in a box?
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
All right, ladies.
That.
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot you're a preemie truther.
I'm a preemie truther, yeah.
I'm very excited for the Patreon episode we're about to record, because I think we've just warmed up. We've warmed up the goofy instruments in our fun orchestra, Dylan.
Ooh. All right. So we're going to end this one and record another one. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Donate to Patreon. Thanks so much for listening. Again, if you guys can't donate to Patreon, we don't say this enough, but just leave a review. It'd be really helpful. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.